Just hearing the word foreclosure is jarring. You're going to see it in headlines. It's exactly why we're going to hear more and more about foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and default moving forward. So today I want to talk a little bit about this article that I came across when just doing my thing, going through the web, and NBC has an article out about how foreclosures are on a rise here in the US. Now, as I mentioned, the word foreclosure is a buzzword. So articles like this will jump out and grab attention and also potentially create some alarm. So I want to go over some of the key facts in this article, and I want to share my expert opinion on what I think is actually going on, or really what some of this information means at the end of the day. So to get started, basically, so what NBC tries to do in this article, in my opinion, is correlate the cost of living and inflation, which potentially is cooling from some of the reports that were just put out, but they try to correlate those moving mechanics with a rise in foreclosures in certain markets throughout the US. Okay. Per the report, foreclosure filings are actually up 7% in comparison to last month, and they're actually up 14% when you compare June of 2023 to June of 2022. Now, keep in mind, as we went through 2020, 2021, and 2022, there were a lot of mandates and things put in place that they didn't just take their foot off the brake. The things that were put in place to keep people in their homes or were to keep people's businesses afloat, those things were tapered off. The Band-Aid wasn't just ripped off. So where I'm going with that is, over the last few years, foreclosure filings have been low historically simply because of the mandates and things that were put in place. But let's continue on to see what NBC has to say about foreclosure filings here in the US. Now, per this report, roughly 35,000 families or homes are affected by this recent increase in filings. Now, with that being said, there's 3 states that they've identified as being the hot or target markets. And those markets are Florida, California, and Texas. As a matter of fact, some of those markets are in other headlines that we've discussed, similar to Airbnb declining and some of the other moving mechanics in the real estate market. But again, per this report, those are the 3 states that are leading when it comes to foreclosure filing. So here in the state of Pennsylvania, I can't say that we're seeing foreclosure filings that would correlate to this report or that would create some type of alarm, but let's see what else the report has to say. So one thing that I will agree with when it comes to this report is income levels. So right now, income levels are still pre-pandemic, and we all know that over the last year, everything that we do, everything that we buy, it costs us more, right? So if we're not making more money, but everything that we need to live, food, the roof over our head, right? Housing has just gone up, whether you're buying a house or you're renting a home. Interest to buy those homes have gone up. Again, at the end of the day, everything costs us more money, but we're not seeing more income, right? So that scale is slightly off. I do agree with that when it comes to this particular report, but I can't say that that scale is so far off that it is the catalyst for foreclosure crisis. Now, the report does go to say that Florida had the highest concentrated areas of foreclosures in comparison to the other 2 markets. But at the end of the day, again, I still can't say that I agree. And you have to understand what a foreclosure filing is. A foreclosure filing isn't necessarily a foreclosure completion, which is something that I'll talk about in just a second. Now, the report also goes to talk a little bit about unemployment and about how the unemployment rate really isn't that bad. We haven't seen unemployment skyrocket, but here's what the report or unemployment doesn't necessarily tell you, is that a lot of times that when we're looking at unemployment numbers, that doesn't mean that people who are working are earning their potential or they're earning enough money to maintain their lifestyle. What I've seen happen a lot over the last few years is that people are taking jobs, but they're taking a pay cut. Instead of making $200,000 a year, they're finding a job that pays them a fraction of that. Or instead of making $100,000 a year, they're finding a job that maybe is part-time, or maybe they're Uber or something along those lines where they're not theoretically unemployed, but they're not making the amount of money that they need to maintain their lifestyle. So unemployment numbers, although are important to look at, they are a little bit skewed, and we can't really say that even though unemployment hasn't drastically taken a turn, that people are making the amount of money that they need to make to live. So to tie all of this up and to tell you is, I will agree that yes, foreclosure filings are up, but that doesn't mean that we're heading into a world where we're going to see a lot of foreclosures. Theoretically, a foreclosure filing is just when the servicer is letting the borrower know that if they don't get caught up, that the bank is going to foreclose on that particular property. So right now, in most markets where people have equity, houses are selling quickly, most people are still seeing appreciation month over month. People who are getting notice of a foreclosure are not being foreclosed on simply because they have options. Most people in this market have options. They have an option to sell the property, take the cash, and rent another home, or whatever the scenario may be. Foreclosure filings literally is a buzzword to get people to click on the article. It does not mean that people are losing their home like we saw in 2008. Now, I will also be transparent and let you know that who knows what we're going to see over the next 12, 24, 36 months, because it's just crazy right now between, again, unemployment, interest rates, inflation. There's a whole lot going on. So is it possible that foreclosures will go up and actually at some point make it to completion? Absolutely. But right now, the middle of 2023, I can't say that I agree with NBC. Well, at least I can't agree in the fact that foreclosures are making it to completion. So maybe the filings are up, but people aren't losing their homes like they were before. So let me know what you think. Let me know. Do you think we're going to see more foreclosures as we head into 2023 and 2024? Or do you think that we're going to see less, or we're going to remain the same? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know. And with that said, take care.